What's happening, everyone? My name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out a very cool bike. This is also a very powerful bike. So this is called the MG740 Plus. So we have 26-inch wheels with 4-inch wide tires. So we have the fat tires as they are called. But this bike also gets dual motors. So we have one motor on the back and one motor on the front. So 1000 watts of power on the front and 1000 watts of power on the back, with a peak power of 1200 watts for the front and of course the back. So if you're looking for a bike that has an insane amount of power, well, this is definitely one to consider. Now let's start a bit of an unboxing just so I can show you how the bike comes packed in the box and what you have to do to get this ready and on the road. Alright, so this bike comes in a pretty massive box. The box is also pretty heavy. The bike itself weighs 34 kilos, so this is definitely not easy to carry around, so it is a heavy bike. So you're probably going to need that second person to move that box around. Now, when you first take this out of the box, you do have to do a bit of an installation. You basically have to put the front wheel together, you have to put the handlebar together, you have to put the pedals together, and this front mudguard, plus the light. So it's going to take you about an hour to get this ready, and as I said, if you're by yourself, it's going to be a bit difficult to put that front wheel together because the bike is heavy, the wheel is heavy, so having the second person would definitely be helpful. Taking a closer look at the bike, well, this looks like your regular mountain bike but with fatter tires, I'm gonna say, and I absolutely love how this looks. And wherever you ride, these people do turn their heads and look at you. First of all, because of the road noise, these tires do make a bit of road noise whenever you are riding normally, obviously because they're that big. But since we have these massive tires, the bike is also pretty comfortable over bumps, over uneven terrain. Not to mention that you can actually ride on sand with this because you have traction on the front, traction on the back. So if you want, you can ride on rocks, sand, or whatever. So there is really no terrain that will stop this bike with those tires and of course the power that you have. Alright, so next I want to show you how the bike does uphill. We have a pretty steep hill up here. I'm not sure you can actually see, but it is fairly steep. So we have the bike in the second gear and assistance level 2 as well. So basically I'm gonna start by accelerating with the throttle and then I'll start pedaling. However, with this bike you don't actually need to pedal because it has so much power. So I have the front and rear motor, and we'll get going. So I'm not actually pedaling, as you can see for yourself. So if you want a bike where you don't actually have to pedal at all, well, this is definitely it, because any hill, it can basically go up any hill without any problem. And if you want to pedal, of course, you can start pedaling and then the bike will start assisting you as well. But as I said earlier, if you don't want to pedal at all, you have the throttle here and you can just accelerate from here. So this easy. So any hill that you want, this bike will be able to go up any hill without any problem. With all that power, of course, you're also going to need a lot of stopping power. So this bike is equipped with hydraulic disc brakes. The disc brakes on this one also are a bit larger than most other bikes that I've tried in the past. And the stopping power from these brakes is also really good. But again, if you're riding at 50 kilometers an hour, so if you do unlock this, it can go up to 50 kilometers an hour. Well, if you do pull on these brake levers, you're definitely gonna lock that front and rear wheels. So maybe brake slower-ish, I'm gonna say, but there is a lot of stopping power that you can actually lock the front and the rear wheels, no problem. The bike is also equipped with a 7-gear Shimano shifter, and shifting through gears is done flawlessly, so moving up, moving down, no problems at all. So if you don't necessarily want to use the electric motors, you can actually ride this just like a regular bike. But keep in mind, the bike is heavy, so it is a bit more difficult. Well, not difficult, but you're gonna have to put a lot of effort into pedaling if you're not using the motors, but you can definitely do that. The battery pack is located in the center. Here you can easily see it. We actually have a little button on the battery pack here. You can press that and you can see how much power you have. The battery pack can also be removed, so there are 2 keys that come in the box, and you can easily remove that battery pack if you want to charge it upstairs, for example, because the bike is a bit large, so maybe you're not going to be able to keep this in an apartment, in a small apartment, because it is a large bike. Now, the range for this bike really depends how you ride it. According to the manufacturer, you can get up to 150 kilometers on one charge. Now, I don't really see that happening, but I guess if you just ride on assistance level 1 and you use only one motor, maybe that's possible. But in my experience, you're gonna get about, I don't know, 50 kilometers if you use the front and rear motors and you don't really pedal that much. We also have mud guards on the back and of course on the front. These are made out of plastic, but this is what happens every time you ride a bike. So they do move a lot, but luckily they don't actually make any noise. So even if you're going over uneven terrain and they do move like crazy, they don't actually make any noise. So that's definitely a good thing. The seat here is larger than most bikes that I got to try. So there is a lot of padding, so you can easily go for extended periods of time before you get tired. So a very comfortable seat. Talking about comfort, so the handlebar here can be adjusted in height. Now, in a way can be adjusted in height, so you can actually move it lower or higher. So this makes it much easier to ride in a straight position. So it really depends how you want to ride. If you want to ride all the way straight, you can just lift this up all the way straight, but if you want to ride a bit more inclined, you can just move the handlebar lower. So that's definitely an added bonus, because with a lot of these bikes that look similar like this don't have any adjustment for the handlebar. So the comfort on this bike is superior to all the other similar looking bikes that I got to try in the past. Talking about comfort, well, on the front here we also have a front suspension. This has about 2 inches of travel, so not an insane amount of travel. I wouldn't say that this bike is designed for off-road. I mean, sure, you can jump a couple of curves, you can go over some rocks because we have the massive tires, but I don't believe that this is actually designed as an off-road machine. So I would just go over the occasional uneven terrain, but I wouldn't take this on the mountain to go jumping, I don't know, stuff with it. So yes, we do have a front suspension. It torques well overall with the big tires and the comfortable seat, so it can keep you comfy whenever you're riding this. On the front here we also have a light. The light is bright enough to be seen during the day, and of course it's bright enough at night, but strangely enough there is no light on the back. And I find that a bit disappointing. I was really hoping to have a light on the back. Now maybe there is a reflector that comes in the box that you can install, but there is no actually light connected to the battery pack and the overall system of the bike. The horn is also located in this light here, and it is extremely loud as well, so get ready. So very, very loud. All right, that brings us to the handlebar here. So the handlebar is nice and wide. The grips here don't seem to move at all. On the right hand side here we also have a throttle. This comes enabled from the box, but the bike is locked to 25 kilometers out of the box. You can unlock it and then it will go up to 51 kilometers an hour, but I left mine locked to that 25 kilometers an hour. So on the left hand side here we have some buttons, so you can basically change modes, see the odometer and all that on the screen that we have in the center here. Talking about the screen is fairly large, but on a sunny day like today, you can barely see the screen. Mostly if you have some sunglasses on, you can't really see this screen, so I'm not a fan of the screen. The brake levers are made out of metal, and as I mentioned earlier, these are hydraulic brakes and they do work really good as well. And of course, the shifter is on the right hand side here. Alright, so let me quickly show you how you ride this bike. So we have the power button right here. If you hold this pressed for about 2 seconds or so, the bike will come on and basically the screen will be on. From here we have the plus and minus, so you can change assistance levels. So now we are in assistance level 2, and if you hold the plus button pressed for about 3 seconds, you can change between the front motor, the rear motor, or both together. So now we are in dual motor, but as I said, you can have just the front or just the back. I'm not sure if you can actually see the screen on the camera, but we are gonna go in dual motor mode, so the front and the back. So you can start going with this bike in a couple of ways. So you can accelerate from the throttle here, or you can start pedaling and the bike will assist you as soon as you start pedaling. Now, we do not have a torque sensor for this bike, we actually have a speed sensor, so you basically have to start moving and the bike will assist you whenever you start moving. So we're gonna start by pedaling. and you can already hear the motors assisting me. So this will take you up to the speed that it's set. This bike is limited to 25 kilometers an hour, but you can easily unlock it, and if you do unlock it, it will take you up to 51 kilometers an hour. Or you can accelerate with the throttle. It does have a lot of power, so watch out if the ground is wet or something like that. Maybe don't accelerate to the throttle, because it does have a lot of power and that front wheel will spin. But you do have the option of not pedaling if you don't want to pedal. I'm going to show you how the brakes work. So we'll do a bit of a brake test after we pass these people. The ground is wet, so I don't want to brake too hard, so we'll brake here. So you can easily stop this bike. These brakes do work really good. Shifting through gears is done good as well. Oh man, everything is so wet around here. So no problems shifting gears. So if you're looking for a bike where you don't actually have to put any effort into pedaling, this is definitely it. Now, of course, you can also turn off the bike. So now the bike is off. And if you want, you can pedal like a regular bicycle that doesn't have a motor, or two in this case. So you can use this as a regular bike as well. So this is easy to ride this bike basically. Alright, so to quickly conclude this video, I do like this bike quite a lot. It is very well built. I love the fact that it doesn't actually make any noise whenever you're riding it. With a lot of other bikes, they squeak, they make certain noises. Well, this one doesn't actually make any noise. The motors that we have on the back and on the front are extremely powerful. You can actually spin that front wheel if you are on gravel or riding on rocks and stuff like that. So there is an insane amount of power, and this is the type of bike that you can actually ride without pedaling at all. And it doesn't matter what kind of a hill you are on. If it's a hill that's this steep, the bike can actually do it without you having to do anything. So it is extremely powerful. It's also very comfortable and very quiet as well, so no noise at all. So I do like this bike quite a lot, and I think it's priced right as well. So if you're looking for a new monster bike, definitely consider this one. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.